you need a permit. What we say is that the land is yours, but the land use is under an authority. So in the same vein, this road needs to be fixed. My house is by the road. All the landlords, landladies along that stretch have contributed. Why not? It's development. But seek approval from the municipal assembly, district assembly, metro assembly for you to undertake that project.
Hello there, and welcome to another episode of The Lowdown here on Ghanaweb TV. My name is Echi Atisu. Today we want to understand what the local governance system looks like. How well do you know our local governance system? We're here to speak to the head of the service, that's Dr. Nana Atto Arthur. We'll get to understand all the questions and all the doubts and all the things that you are asking questions about when it comes to the local governance system. What can be done, what cannot be done? We'll get all the answers here. Hello, Doc.
Hi.
Thank you very much for allowing us into your office this afternoon.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Okay, Doc. So, first of all, we want to understand how big or not, what's the local governance system like? Can you give us an overview of when we say the local government system, what does it look like?
Yes. First of all, let me indicate to you that there's a difference between local government and local governance.
Okay.
If you look at local government today, with the coming into force of the PNDC law 207, decentralization local government has become part of our governance structure in Ghana. So if you talk about government today, we have local government and national government. With the decentralization that we are practicing today, it comes with the metro, municipal, and district assemblies.
Okay.
So today we have a number of, we call them MMDs, metro, district, 261. Indeed, let me indicate that when the PNDC law 207 came to be in 1988, it was concretized in the 1992 Constitution, Chapter 20. There's local government and decentralization. And that is what we are practicing today. In other words, when 1988, PNDC law 207 came to being, when we came into the fourth Republican Constitution, it has to be concretized, find place in our Constitution. That's chapter 20 of it. And what we're practicing today, we have something we call political decentralization, administrative decentralization, and fiscal decentralization. Political decentralization has to do with the ministries, policies that are designed at that level.
Okay.
Now when it comes to administrative decentralization, that's where we find the local government service. The implementation of the policies from that end at our sub-national level, RCC, regional coordinating councils, metro, district assemblies. So if you ask the local government service, any staff in our 16 RCCs plus the 261 metro municipal assemblies, they belong to local government service. In fact, there's small distinction. When we are the RCCs, the regional ministers are not part of the service. They belong to the presidency.
Okay.
If you are the MMDs, the chief executive, that the MMDCs are not our staff. They report to the minister, local government, decentralization, rural development. Any other person you find in any assembly, in any RCC, belongs to a local government service.
So that's to say that you have quite a huge chunk of, perhaps I'll say the public service machinery
Huge.
How huge is that? What's the number?
I can tell you that we are about 50,000. It's not as huge as Ghana Education Service, though.
Okay.
But as government machinery at that lower level, we are huge. When I say at the lower level, the civil service constitutes the government machinery at the national level.
Okay. All right.
And at the lower level, or called sub-national level, it is the local government service. Very huge.
And that's a huge number. But it seems like not too many people get to understand or know where your service actually comes in when it comes to development. And I'm asking this for a specific reason.
Let me indicate that.
Okay.
If you look at the functions of the district assemblies, they are in charge of total development of their municipalities, district or metropolitan. Social, economic, technical, whatever. Total development. Except that we are working on a principle in theory referred to as principle of subsidiarity.
Okay.
What is beyond the district level or municipal level is taken over at the region and then national for that matter. That is what is referred to as the principle of solidarity. So for instance, if you are in an assembly, whether municipal or district, you can be talking about basic schools construction. You can be talking about chips compounds health-wise. You can be talking about farm roads, feeder roads that could be at the jurisdiction of the districts or the municipalities. Now, if you want to talk about secondary school, then of course the national takes it over. So that is a principle, underneath the decentralization local government that we are practicing in Ghana.
That's to say that, so your service handles all the big time development issues. When we talk about developing the nation, for instance, Ghana as it is, that's where your service really works in.
At the local level, that's what I've earlier on alluded to. That is the government machinery at the sub-national level. At the national level, you are talking about government machinery as the civil service.
Okay.
So, as I said, if anybody needed anything in any municipality, you first walk to the municipal assembly or district assembly. Because what we have not realized is this: the national effects are the sum total of the local effects. Bring it home. President will be talking about Ghana beyond aid. At our level, I'll be talking about Adenta beyond aid, Commanded Negua for bring beyond aid, Hohoe beyond aid, Dafiama Busie Isa, Lambusie, because that is my level. And it is the sum total of these assemblies, 261, that constitute Ghana.
Okay.
And so if at the lower level, the foundation is strong, it has positive impact at the national level. And in engineering, I'm an engineer. In engineering, we say that if the foundation is strong, the superstructure is strong.
Okay.
If the foundation is weak, even if the superstructure is strong, the foundation will erode. Anything that comes will erode the foundation. That's the more reason why we think that if we build the local, take it to local economic development, if we look at that strongly, it will have positive impact at the national level.
How is it that over the years, it seems like developments have been rather directed at parliamentarians, to the extent that there are not too many people who, like you mentioned earlier, would walk into the office of a local governance head to ask for development, but would rather go to a political person like a parliamentarian? Where did all that disconnect happen?
I believe that we need to understand it very well, because check technically, I'm of the view that the MP's work is not necessarily development at the local level. It is the assemblies, whether metro, municipal, or district assemblies. The MP, except that I've been an MP before.
Yes.
You are campaigning. You go to Commanded Negua for Abrim, my constituency. Many a time, telling your constituents that, look, I'm asking you, pleading with you to vote for me, because when I go to Parliament, I'll make sure that laws will be favorable to you, the constituents. That's not what they want to listen. Immediately you get there, did you use this road before you got to a J. Crow? Did you use this road before you got to Abrim Barasi? Say yes. Did you see the nature of the road? So, at best, I will be speaking about the road, that rough road, so that they will vote for me. When they do that, that is now incumbent on me in Parliament to be lobbying, and that is the word, lobbying. But the real work is
not done by
the municipalities.
Okay.
If I lobby and I'm not able to get it, where am I going to find funds to undertake even a 1 kilometer feeder road? Otherwise, the municipalities have been charged. They have the locus to collect internally generated revenue. I'm collecting property rates. I'm collecting these taxes, that taxes here and there. They are supposed to be used for development at that lower level. Besides, we have this Assembly Common Fund. That is a grant from the national level to the sub-national level. So that is where the development is. It is not in Parliament. A parliamentarian's role, lobbying for a project, and more importantly, oversighting the executive. That is a major role of parliamentarian, apart from making laws. You understand? If I'm not able to lobby for a project to my constituency, that actually isn't my major responsibility. The lower level, that is the local government and the national government. In this case, the executive. Otherwise, when we generalize it, the judiciary, the legislative all come into play when we're talking about national government. But I'm referring to the executive arm of the government. So, in effect, development is actually at the doorsteps of the MMDAs.
All right, so now we know what the structure is. We've heard about how or who to turn to when it comes to development. When we return from this break, Dr. Ato Arthur will take us through what the step-by-step processes are. And I'll bring you a unique story of something that happened at Nahinson around in the Ashanti region, a case in point where we would ask questions about. So don't go nowhere, we'll be back shortly. I'm still here with the head of the local government service, Dr. Nana Ato Arthur. Doc, now there are processes to get work done. Ordinarily, is it the local government service that would identify maybe developmental needs and go and effect those things, or there are also processes for citizens like myself to also walk up to any of your offices to do that?
That is not the responsibility of the local government service.
Okay.
Generally, local government service is responsible for the human resource. I told you about decentralization, fiscal decentralization, and political decentralization. My office here, we are responsible for the human resource in all the RCCs and MDs. Like I told you, from Chief Director, the RCCs, to the lowest level. If at the MMDA, the creating data to a lower or the lowest level at that area. But when it comes to projects, every assembly, it's the highest political authority in that area. The assemblies, they have what we call their annual development plans. From their medium-term development plans, they have their annual development plans. The annual development plans will indicate in a given year what projects that they want to undertake.
Okay.
And because in the development of the annual development plan, they've engaged their citizens, their communities. The communities will be able to indicate that we need 5-kilometer farm road from this area, whether it's reshaping. We need a basic school in this area, a KG, or 3 classroom block, or 6 classroom block. We need a child's compound or a clinic. That would all have been identified. So that will be taken to the assembly, the General Assembly. The General Assembly will give approval. It's like what happens at the national level. The Minister of Finance, on behalf of the President, comes for the annual budget. So at the Assembly, these plans have been quantified at the monetary level so that it becomes a budget. And so, given year, they will determine that we are putting up a building in this year. This is a KG block, this is a 6 classroom block. It is at that level. Okay. It's not determined from our end here. But let me also quickly come in because of what you said. If a citizen in a given area wants, let's say, this 500-meter road in front of our house, we want to tar this area. You need to go to the assembly, get approval from the assembly, for the assembly to know that this road is being done privately by these residents along this corridor. You cannot just get up and say, I live here, I have money, I am tarring this 5-10 kilometer road, this stretch around our area without approval from the assembly.
Wouldn't that be helping the government in any way?
It is helping.
Okay.
But you can't be doing things haphazard. Because assembly would have even come that this is the way this road has been designed.
Okay.
That is where you, the private person who wants to help, take that. Otherwise, you don't have the designs, there's no approval from the assembly. Mind you, even when you have your piece of land and you want to put up a building,
yeah, there are procedures to go.
there are procedures.
Sure.
You need a permit. What we say is that the land is yours, but the land use is under an authority. So in the same vein, this road needs to be fixed. My house is by the road. All the landlords, landladies along that stretch have contributed. Why not? It's development. But seek approval from the municipal assembly, district assembly, metro assembly for you to undertake that project. Otherwise, there will be people who will run helter-skelter, particularly in an election year like this. Oh, I have taken this upon myself to do this. I'm helping the assembly. Yes, but get approval before you undertake that project. If both of us, the assembly is to complete a project, 1 million Ghana cedis. If residents along a corridor say they can help, why not? But get permission before you undertake.
And because you mentioned that, I'll bring you to that story I talked about. Right. The headline on Ghanaweb says, Chief of Nainson arrested for repairing roads authorities failed to attend to after several appeals. Now, that's a case in point. You've explained why there's a need to get authorization.
Right.
But I want to find out from you, how best can the service work with especially traditional leaders to ensure that sometimes some of these concerns, because from this story, the chief had made several attempts to get authorities to fix the road, and to the point where he felt he wasn't getting the needed responses, so he took it upon himself. How best can the local government service work with, especially traditional leaders, to ensure that the needed developments, they get it the way they want it?
That is where the governance, that terminology, comes in.
Okay.
You're talking about governance. It's beyond government. Traditional authorities are part, the media, civil society, faith-based, they are all part of governance. So as I sit here, traditional authorities are very, very important in the developmental realm. Why? You want to put up this building. The land doesn't belong to government. You need to approach a traditional authority.
Yeah.
So they are very important. There are a lot of conflicts that traditional authorities help governments to solve. For that matter, they are very, very, very important. For me, if a chief approaches a municipality, a district, a metropolitan assembly that want to fix this road, or they've written several times and they've not gotten that positive response, as a chief, you may not even need to walk to a municipal assembly. You can find a chief executive to your palace. Dr. Atuaka, this road, we've written to you a couple of times. We've not gotten any response from you. My community has contributed, or we are moving our citizens outside, and they want to support us to do this. So we want to undertake this. I don't think any chief executive will say no to a chief who wants to support his or her own citizens. I wouldn't understand the story very well.
Okay.
But for me, if there were the understanding between the palace or the chief and the local government in question, I don't think we would have gotten to where we are. It's unfortunate, honestly, because we need to work together. A local government cannot be there without a traditional authority. But wherever you are sitting, that office, wherever you are, it belongs to a traditional authority.
Okay.
How can you do without a traditional authority? That is where I believe that there must be a synergy between traditional authorities and the local government for effective public service delivery.
All right,
Very
so
important.
just before we go, we've spoken about the traditional leaders aspects. How about the citizens? You are the head of the service. How do the citizens help? What roles are you expecting from citizens in the execution of your mandate?
Citizens are very important. You see, in the planning, budgeting, at the local government level, we engage citizens as part of validation of the plans. So citizens come in there. 2, for accountability's sake, call it downward accountability. If I'm a chief executive in Commander Nego Afabrim, I'm a chief executive at Denta, the Afrimabusia Isa, wherever that I am, I'm downwardly accountable to the citizens in that jurisdiction. For that matter, that is where town hall meetings, that is where going on radios, phone-ins, citizens need to know what is going on in our various assemblies. So in a performance monitoring that we do, but we have what we call performance contracts. We even go to the extent of how far did the citizens get involved in the preparation of their plans. Citizens are important. We ask MMDCs, go on air, let people get to know what is happening in your area. Even on our boards, when you go to every assembly, notice boards, we require that the assemblies will be able to paste whatever project that they are undertaking on their notice boards. revenue that they are collecting on their notice boards. So people get to know what is going on in those assemblies. And using the town hall meetings, assembly hall meetings, the other meetings, that's also the arena where the citizens will get to know what is happening in the assemblies for the sake of transparency and accountability. A chief executive is not only upwardly accountable to the president, and that also comes in with the election of MMDCs, to be able to be downwardly accountable to your citizens, rather than to be largely upwardly accountable to the president who appointed you.
So you want those
I'm all for
elections?
the election of the MMDC. It's rather unfortunate the president gave us that opportunity, but it slipped by us. Because I think that, and you had the right question. How come that a lot of MPs are under pressure to do that because they were elected?
Okay.
Because they were elected.
So the same pressure would have been mounted on MMDCs.
Exactly, and the pressure would have been shared. Both MPs, MMDCs, but both of us were elected. And that is where I talk about the downward accountability, where you definitely be accountable to the people who elected you. But if nothing at all, you go back to them.
Okay.
So I'm all for the election of MMDCs, and just not election, on political party basis. Why? Today, we are electing assembly members. And in our law today, per our constitution,
They are not supposed to be political, right?
they are not supposed to be political.
Yes.
But I can tell you, even at the time there you find their posters on the walls, what they are wearing alone will indicate to you that this person is
aligned to
this political party.
But it's still not clear cut. They don't actually state.
Yeah, they don't state. But again, when it comes to endorsement or call it confirmation of DCs who have been appointed by the president, that is where MPP, NDC, and other political party things come in. When they are electing their presiding members, today, you go to most assemblies in Central and other parts of Ghana, they don't have presiding members because it is NDC and MPP. So why are we doing all this into ourselves? That it is apolitical. You also find out that anytime we are going for assembly elections, you see MP people in a room, NDC people in the room, they are doing primaries. I've written on this. My PhD is on local governance. I've written on this. The unfinished business of this organization, political accountability, local government in Ghana. It is real. In fact, a lot of evidence about. So for me, we don't need to play ostriches.
Okay.
If we want to call a spade, let's call a spade a spade. I am all for election of MMDCs on political party basis.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Nana Ato Arthur, former MP for Commander Edina Eguafo Abrim,
the former Central Minister.
Yes, he's held a lot of political positions. Thank you very much for allowing us into your space, and thank you for sharing about the local government service and your work, the distinctions and all of that. So thank you for joining us here on The Lowdown here on Ghanaweb TV. My name is Eche Atisu. You can go on to www.ghanaweb.com for news and any other thing you're looking for. Until another time, be safe.